What's up, bikers? Episode 199. I know I've said this the last couple episodes, but holy cow, I can't believe that we're about to hit 200 episodes. Really blows my mind. Today, we're going to have on Cushcore, and Dan from over there was on episode 25. So over 170 some odd episodes ago. That's just really hard for me to wrap my head around. It seems like it was just yesterday that him and I were talking. So anyways, I'm really stoked to have them on the show. Before I get started though, let's talk real quick about some of the channel sponsors. As you guys know, I've been riding RE bikes. They're sponsoring me on the B1KER and the B1KER Bar podcast channels, and they have a fall sale going on right now. On top of that, they have 11%, or I'm sorry, 11, a 0% APR on a 12-month financing available. If you go over to rebikes.com, hit bikes on sale, you can see what's over there. And if you were been paying attention to my Instagram, man, I've been riding a lot of e-bike lately, and they got this. Where is it at? I'm not even seeing it, man. It must be, dude. They must have sold all. No, there it is. Temp Peak. They got the Temp Peak. That's the one I'm riding. It's a 170 bike, and they got it starting out at 52, almost $5,300, man. It's like a pretty good steal on an e-bike. If you're thinking about getting an e-bike, right about now's the time, because they're on sale all over the place. Anyways, besides that, check out tascostoke.com. Over there, Tasco just released this small batch pink set of gloves. They call it Pink Checkmate, and I'm super stoked about it. You can go over there if you haven't already and check it out. They also have some ODI grips that are Tasco branded. I thought they're pretty rad. And you can matchy the pink gloves with the with your kids, maybe your daughter, maybe your son likes hot pink too. I don't know. I'm rocking the hell out of hot pink lately. So anyways, go over there, use code BIKER, B1KER, save a little money. Aside from that, Callie's been a longtime longtime supporter of the channel, and the new Maya 3 colorway is out right now. And this teal, blue, white combination looks sick as hell. The code B1KALI30 will save you 30%. So this $100 helmet, only $70. And guess what? If you want to matchy with the kid and the gloves, you can do the same with the Maya full face, and that's a detachable chin bar full face helmet for your kid. Starts out at $140. Use that code though, and take off 30%. You guys can do the math. Enough of that. Let's bring Dan on and let's talk about bikes, man. How's it going, Dan?
Good. How are you?
Not bad, dude. I am really blown away that it was that long ago that we talked on the podcast.
Yeah. So what year was that? Do you know?
It was in 2020.
Okay. Yeah. Gosh, it's so funny. As you get older, like time goes faster, right? So like 2020 seems like yesterday, but yeah, that's almost 5 years ago already.
Yeah, it blows my mind, to tell you the truth, because I just I can't even wrap my head around it going by that quick. It seems like it wasn't that long ago. Like to me, it was like I met you guys up in your office in Bend, and then like in my mind, it would have been like a month or two later, which apparently was a couple of years later. We had you on the podcast, and then here we are, and just blows my mind. So lots of new listeners here. You guys have changed your product lineup a lot. For the people that aren't familiar with Cushcore somehow, how did you guys get started?
Yeah, so the inventor of Cushcore, his name's Adam Crefting. He had started a motorcycle suspension tuning business, and so dirt bikes, right? So he dove in into suspension engineering, and I always use this as an example. He got so into it that he bought a $150,000 suspension dyno.
Right.
So it was not a hobby for him. It was like
he just leaned all the way in.
Yeah, leaned all the way in. And so within that process, he was always a mountain biker and as well. And but he thought, at the time, mountain biking had basically completely transitioned to tubeless, right? But tubeless has its drawbacks. And then in the moto world, there's a few different solutions, but they all had their drawbacks. And so he set out to like create a product that did the good things, all the good things of these products or these tire solutions, and then solve the problems of the negatives. So he really came at Cushcore as a suspension product.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed to be used with tubeless. So you still have air in the tire, and then you have this foam ring that wraps around tightly around the rim. So the foam acts as a damper, air acts as a spring and damper, that's suspension. So that's the concept. And the idea is like to improve ride quality, really, absorbing impacts at the tire, big or small, without the suspension having to compress and rebound. And then also, there's some negatives with when you're running lower tire pressure, you get a squirmy tire and it's easy to flat. So Cushcore solves those issues as well. That's kind of the 10-cent version.
So he initially started out with it in mind of being a mountain bike product, or was it initially something he was thinking about doing moto-wise?
Yeah. So his first prototype was he took pieces of foam and glued them together in a hoop and put it in his dirt bike. But then, the one thing is like dirt bikes aren't tubeless, and they all use tubes. And then the other thing is that the benefits are more exaggerated on mountain bikes. The tire casings are much lighter than a dirt bike tire. Dirt bike tires are really thick compared to mountain bike tire. And then just that's then he the first prototype was on a dirt bike, but then he immediately switched to developing it for mountain bikes, and that was the target from the get-go. And then, like as you mentioned, we launched in 2017, in February of 2017, but really he had the product designed and complete in the July of 16, and it just took us 6 months to get the business up and running and get a mold and all that stuff. Get ready for commercialization. And then but since then, we had one model at first, and then through the years we've launched several models. So now
before we jump into that, like what was his background? He was just like a
his background, I honestly think his degree is in political science or something like that. I can't remember, but he's a self-taught engineer.
Got it.
And like I said, he raced mountain bikes as a kid, and then as an adult, he always wanted a dirt bike, and then he got into dirt bike racing, like cross country racing in Durango, and then eventually in Texas as well. And through that process, he started tinkering on his own with suspension, and then like I said, eventually he made a business, and he got into the technology that he bought a suspension dyno.
Meeting him in person, he's definitely a super analytical type of person, and I would have just assumed that he was some kind of civil engineer in the past or something.
But self-taught engineer. But I can honestly say I believe he's a suspension genius. It's crazy. Even what I've learned from him has been wild. Prior to working at Cushcore, I worked at Honda R&D in the motorcycle division for almost 20 years, and I learned more from Adam suspension wise, than I did at Honda. Not that Honda's not a great company; it's an awesome company. But anyway, it's just interesting, and so he it's a funny thing. Just a sidebar here. We had one of our vendors was in the office yesterday, and they do these things in town here called a pub talk. It's basically like a networking thing, social hour. You can meet with other businesses, this and that. And they're like, "Oh, are you going to pub talk?" And Adam said, "No, I'm going to go hide in the machine shop." And that just explains who he is, right? That he's just that kind of guy. Like he's a true engineer, even though he doesn't have a piece of paper that says Bachelor of Science. That's fine. I think I lost you, Robert.
Sorry about that. I don't know.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Anyways, yeah, that's super interesting, the background on him. So somewhere along the line, you came into the mix. You just guys just knew each other from riding, or
No. I didn't know Adam at all. I mean, it's sort of a funny story. I mean, so at the time, I decided to move to Bend. Um, he and his wife were living in Austin, and they had decided to move to Bend at the same time. And then through this, it's like a organization here in Bend that's called Economic Development of Central Oregon. EDCO is what everybody calls it, and they help businesses move here and help them grow. And I met with them, and just by chance, they're like, "Oh, you work in the motorcycle industry? Well, there's this guy Adam Crafting moving his business here, and he does motorcycle suspension." And at the time, I've been a dirt biker since I was 10 years old, and I had never heard of Craft Moto. That was the name of that company. But I was like, "Yeah, give him my number," and we talked on the phone, and immediately I could tell this is a real bright guy. But he told me at the time, I need help with marketing on the Craft Moto side, but I have a mountain bike product that I want to launch, and I need help doing that as well. But I can't tell you what it is until you sign on and you move up here to Bend. And so that was enough for me. I mean, I had already decided to move to Bend, so that was a done deal. I had bought a house, and like the gravity was going. Nobody at Honda knew that I was leaving at the time. I just had to find a gig up here. But
Right.
so lucky, I really didn't know what I was going to do. There's not a lot of industry up here, and certainly not really moto or mountain bike, which is my
not in 2017. Apparently, things have changed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's grown a lot. But yeah, so that was enough for me. And then I got here, and like, let's say the first couple weeks is really focused on Craft Moto, and but then finally he showed me the first Cushcore, and it's interesting. I could probably find it, but I'm not going to waste your time. It was yellow, and so he didn't tell me anything. He just pulled it out from underneath his desk and he handed it to me, and I was like, I honestly was like, what is that? I don't even.
Right.
What am I even looking at? This is a foam ring. What? And then he explained it to me, and the light bulb went off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're onto something here. This is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, like the thing that resonated with me is like pre-Cushcore, I always ran too high tire pressure because I didn't like that squirminess, and I didn't want to get a flat. And
people that aren't watching video, I mean, you're a bigger guy like me. You're over 200, I would assume.
Something. Yeah. I'm 6'2". Yeah. Big dude.
Yeah. And we definitely. I mean, I can 100% relate with you. I mean, when I rode tubes, I would ride at like a 40 or maybe even 50 pound PSI just so I could keep from A, pinch flatting, and B, like that super squirmy feeling. So when I moved into riding tubeless, it was like, it must have been 50 that I was running on tubes, because I remember that I started out like, they were like, oh, you're only allowed to run 40 at the max when you're tubeless. So I was like, well, 40 I'm running, like that was it.
Yeah, for me, same kind of experience. I was like really, it was way back, but I was hesitant to go to tubeless. But then I did, and but even with tubeless, I was running like 30 psi. Just because bigger guy, and I really didn't like the squirminess, and I didn't want to get a flat. And then with Cushcore, I run like 24, 25 front rear.
Nice.
And it's a huge difference. So some people think of it like, I bring this up because a lot of people, like, the obvious benefit is, rim protection or flat prevention, but for me,
and that seems to be the way that a lot of, let's just say it, that a lot of the bike consumers over the last 4 or 5 years have really started to look at these type of products as rim protection. But that's the one thing that every time I have this conversation with anybody, just because when I met you guys initially, I mean, it was probably 2017 when I was up there. So it would have been like right when you guys launched. And it really stands out to me, like it's a suspension product, you know, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people just look at it that way. And I know you guys have different flavors now than you did originally, but originally, sure. That main one, which I think is now still called Pro.
Yes. Yeah.
Is like that's a product that needs to be run in both tires, and it's like not just a rim protector. Like in my mind, rim protection is the secondary benefit.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I mean that's how we look at it. But we know, I mean, you know, the general rider, their pain point is either flats or I keep breaking wheels, right?
Right.
So we get it, but you know, that's the gateway to Cushcore, and it does help with those things. But once you ride it, I think everybody can feel the you know, the ride quality benefits. And so, I mean, that's been Robert, that's been like a struggle as the marketing guy. It's been tough. You know, we're trying to tell the story of its suspension product, and everybody's I just don't want to get any more flats, right? So we really haven't leaned into that aspect of it. We're continually trying to promote all the benefits that it does and really what it was designed to do. But we know that, like, you know, some consumers or riders, really they're one of their main pain points is either flats or rim damage. And we do help with that. So, but then, you know, we know, like, once you get it, maybe you just buy it for your rear wheel and you're like, oh, I'm just tired of breaking rear wheels. But then you ride it a little bit. Well, maybe I'll try it up front. And
that's the thing I wanted to ask you, because I know a lot of guys that do try Cushcore for the rim protection reason, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they're like, when I tell them, like, hey, this is a suspension thing, man, you should really be running it in both tires. And a lot of times they're like, why would I need it in the front tire?
Yeah. I mean, that there you go. I mean, even yourself, you've run into our marketing conundrum, right? But
so, like, how would you guys
time,
explain
it's getting better and better, and, like, you know, we're not a new product anymore,
right?
So we found that it takes less to explain the other benefits, and then we have a lot of people out there that are, you know, they've for lack of a better phrase, they drank the Kool-Aid and they get it. And so you know, it's building that awareness or our understanding of what it was designed to do. Is I feel like it's not as hard of a sell as it was when we very first launched.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely people have come to the conclusion that they're okay with putting inserts in, and they're okay with maybe the extra weight, depending on what they're purchasing. So, but like, I think what I was getting at a minute ago is, like, what would your reasoning be on why they need to have it in the front tire as well?
Well, it's a few things. I mean, cornering is the one thing. You can really lay into the corner harder with Cushcore because it supports the sidewall. It's shaped like a wedge. I think most people are aware of what it's looked like. So it supports the rim, supports the tire sidewall right at the rim. So you still have a compliant tread patch. There is some competitors out there that claim they do that, but really they're putting pressure on the sidewall in the wrong place. You want it right there next to the rim. That's where the tire dynamics work. So that's one thing, is the cornering. But for me, the other thing is, like, you got to think you're leading with your front wheel. And I found, and I think, I mean, talking to riders, you just get so much more confidence leading with that wheel, knowing Cushcore's in there. Like, smash a rock, a sharp rock, you got to roll over and maintain momentum. With Cushcore, you're absorbing that impact at the tire without the suspension having to compress and rebound, which is inefficient. That ruins your rolling resistance. If you can keep that, the more you can keep that tire on the ground, your rolling resistance decreases, right? And so it like kind of keeps my momentum going over those front wheel impacts. So those are like the two main aspects of why I would run it in the front. And I guess the third one also is like trail chatter, stutter bumps,
Mm-hmm.
as we would say in the engineering world, high frequency, low amplitude impacts. But chatter, right? Like
Uh-huh.
it's funny. Like, we go to events and we'll like demo bikes that don't have Cushcore, and it's just like immediately you just feel like you can feel it in your arms. It's definitely
Really
reduces
dampen,
vibration.
does a lot of dampening.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, those are like the three things for me that's why, let alone flat prevention and rim protection.
Yeah.
Those are like the performance benefits that I feel, honestly. And
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, I think for me and you both, I think as a bigger rider, you probably notice these things more because you're kind of stressing them more, and I think for some of these guys that are maybe a little thinner or don't weigh as much, it's not as obvious. But I think when you think about it in the terms that you just said, then it's definitely a little bit more apparent.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just want to dive into, but like that is also like, there's different rider types, riding styles, terrain, and body sizes. And that's why over the years we have a full range of models now that can cover everybody. Like, a fellow RE rider like yourself, April Zastrow, she probably weighs half of what I weigh.
Yeah, I'm sure she weighs half, probably more.
She definitely rides better than I do, but it's just different forces on the wheels and tires. So that's why you have options now.
So you guys did something it's Richie Rude, right?
Yeah. We've been we've been with Yeti. Well, I think since.
But you guys did like a test with him. I thought
yeah.
You guys were running like brewers laps with some equipment on the bike. Can you explain that and what happened?
Yeah, so that was a while ago. I think that was 2018, and we had some. I think I lost you again, Robert. I'll wait till you get team back.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, cool, no problem.
My camera keeps freezing, so I was just refreshing my browser. So you were saying 2018?
Yeah. So what at the time? So we were still relatively new, right? We were a year in, and we wanted to. We invited Sedona Mountain Bike Festival, and we invited some media and Richie to come with us, and basically did tests down. Yeah, it was Brewer, because it's short and easy to shuttle, and we could do a bunch of laps. And so with and without Cushcore, and just get their feedback. And then we had them to that Airbnb we had rented, and we huddled up and gave them our pitch, and then got their feedback. And yeah, that's basically it. It's kind of like I wouldn't say a press event, but it was just like, hey, if you want to try it, come join us. And we got Richie Rude. You can try to follow him, which is impossible.
So
gosh, there was one guy though. Now I'm going to draw a blank on his name, but really fast guy. But anyway, it'll come to, if it comes to me, I'll remind you, because he could kind of keep him in sight at least.
Yeah.
Very tall dude, blonde guy. I'm just drawing a blank on his name right now. But anyway, yeah.
Huh. Was that another pro rider or just like a regular?
No,
guy?
he was. I think at the time he was working for Vital, if I remember correctly.
Got it.
But he's not with Vital.
So what came out of the science that you guys captured that day?
Well, that one that test was more of like let's call it an objective test. We weren't doing data acquisition, if I can remember correctly, but we've done a bunch of like testing with data analytics. So from all the way of like sending it, there's a company in Finland that does wheel and tire testing, and so we sent it to them, and it's purely lab testing. We've done I'm sure you've heard of Motion Instruments. They make data acquisition equipment, and they've done a bunch of testing with Cushcore. Unfortunately, it sounds like this week they announced that they're kind of ceasing operations. But
Yeah.
and then we have our own testing equipment here, including that suspension dyno, and and so I mean we have a plethora of data, but if I remember correctly, that man, I may be confusing it. We may have had motion instruments on that test as well, and basically they can measure the forces, suspension travel and force, with and without Cushcore. And gosh,
so what's the outcome? What's it say?
I mean, I can't remember from that test exactly, but the test that Motion Instruments did in Downeyville, and they used the Downeyville downhill.
Oh, nice.
They that data. Let's see. The vibration damping was increased by 16%. So like 16% smoother ride, you could say.
Yeah.
And then I want to say they measured, suspension travel, like how much suspension travel you're using. And the suspension travel was, I believe 12% less. So think about it, 12%. That's like 100 millimeter fork having 120 millimeters travel.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was one thing. And then, gosh, I sorry. It's not top of mind. And so like, it's been a little bit since I've
data,
but that's all on our website. And there's the testing reports and you can look at all that. And then, I mean, we've done like other just pure impact force, and it can reduce up to 50% of the force. So that's huge. That I would say that's the maximum data point, but still, that knowing that it can at least reduce the force to the rim by half is.
Does it matter what kind of like sidewalls you have on the tires? Like, is it difference between having like an EXO tire and a double down tire or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. Like a thicker casing tire is gonna increase that number, and a lighter casing tire is gonna reduce it. But that's like one thing.
But I'm saying like using that tire in conjunction with Cushcore, does it like affect the way that the Cushcore works, or are you still getting the same gains?
Yeah, basically you're getting the same gains. The numbers are going to change, right?
Right.
But I mean, that is one thing that we say is like, yeah, you're adding weight with the Cushcore, but likely you can run the next level down tire casing, so you can offset that weight.
Right. So instead of running a double down, I could just do like an EXO plus and kind of save that extra weight, but then still get the performance of the double down type of tire.
Exactly. I mean, I would say that's an option because, it's so hard. We get questions, well, what tire pressure should I run? And it's like, it depends.
Yeah.
Your riding style, your tire pressure, your terrain, there's so many factors. So it's just that I would just say that's an option, right? Like you have that option, and a softer tire casing provides a more supple ride. So we'd all love to run soft tires, but there's the negatives of like easy to flat, easy to ding your rim, etc. And
easy to rip it up.
Yeah, and easy to rip it up. So Cushcore helps offset some of those. We can't protect the sidewall, but yeah. Anyway, just the point being is that it's an option. It's another point that you can tune to your needs.
So I've tried a few different of your products over the years, and I tried the XC product, and in my opinion, the XC product, it really was lacking the sidewall support that I enjoyed from the Pro version. And in my mind, I just like kind of chalk that one up more as like a rim protection kind of thing. Yeah. Is that the way that you guys meant to like engineer that, or is it, am I wrong in my thought process? Or
no, I think you nailed it. I mean, honestly, it's just so much smaller that it can't do as much. It does the same things, but just not as much. And I mean, really, at the time when we launched that and designed it, it's for that rider that is worried about weight and maybe is super lightweight physically, and or their riding style is not that aggressive. So and or they truly race cross country and they just need that little bit of insurance. And so those were like the kind of the targets that we were aiming for with that one. And then, as since then we made a trail model that is basically directly in between what we call Pro and the XC. And just the quick sidebar we call it Pro, and we called that initially because, like, especially in Adam's mind, this is like the perfect dimension of Cushcore that balances weight and performance. And so this is the full performance version, hence Pro. And that doesn't mean we didn't want to name it DH because it's not for just DH or enduro or something like that. It just applies across the board and delivers the optimal weight performance balance. We've learned along the way there's some, you can make some, like with the XC, it's a lot lighter, but then again, it doesn't do as much. It still does the same things, but not as much. And so,
so the trail's just kind of another, like you're giving up maybe a little bit of the sidewall support, but you're still getting a little bit more protection and a little bit more support than you would in the XC.
Yeah. But then,
at the cost of weight.
Yeah. At the cost. But, for me, I rode the trail for a while, but I ended up going back to Pro. I use a Pro everywhere, even, a cross country ride or Whistler bike park. I just like the feel of it. I like that sidewall support. The trail is, a few of our guys, like here locally, our trails are, we got lava rock, but like we don't have huge descents. It's like fairly, like I would say rolling terrain. And so, they like that little lighter, more agile feel, I guess you could say, just a little lighter. And they're certainly, smaller guys than I am. But anyway, it's just like a preference thing. And then, also now you can mix and match. You can put a trail in front, a Pro in the back, or, whatever.
Yeah. So, so you have the XC, the trail, the Pro, and then I think, is there gravel or something else still?
Yeah. So we've had gravel for a while. I mean, it's done really well. I would say this, I lost you again.
No, I just put you up there in the full screen.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So we've had the gravel for a few years now, and it's done really well for us. And the rider feedback we get from that is, game changer, because those bikes don't have suspension, most of them. And, they can run a little lower pressure, get that sidewall support. Don't worry about flats, vibration damping. It's been huge. But, to be honest, there's a couple guys here now that do ride gravel. I don't ride gravel. And marketing to that specific niche of the market has been a little bit tough. So I think the awareness is, we have a lot of opportunity there still. And, but I do think if there's any gravel riders out there listening to this, definitely give it a shot. It's going to solve a lot of your pain points. And like, again, it's been a little bit of a marketing struggle. Like our whole, like our website, for example, is very mountain bike focused. We do have a gravel little section that you can get to the gravel, but like you land on our page and it's, pictures of our mountain bike athletes and or guys that use it. And, so it's a little struggle, but, having said that, it sells really well for us. And I do think there's opportunity there. And
I think I had a Redshift on a few weeks ago, and they have like a suspension stem and other suspension devices that are built for gravel. And one of the big
Another
things that they're trying
sports.
to get away from is that like that little chatter that you get, or that road vibration. And with the percentages and changes that you saw on the mountain bike, I would assume that it's similar with it on the gravel as well. So that could be the difference of, fatiguing more over time on the gravel ride. I think, there's the other benefits that you could talk about, maybe running a little lower pressure and having some better grip and stuff like that. But I think, to me, that would be the part in my mind that would stick out the most, where I would consider Cushcore for that, just to get rid of some of that vibration.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're selling it for me, Robert. Yeah, that's kind of what we promote with the gravel, is like, yeah, you can ride farther, ride longer, because you have less fatigue. And
So
that's what most people ride a gravel bike, is like they want to get out and go far. Yeah.
It's got to be difficult marketing a product that is on people's bikes that nobody can see.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's why, like, our let's call it corporate color is green, right? And that's why it comes standard with our green valves, because once our product's installed, it's invisible, right? So you can only see our green valves, and of course we have now a rainbow of colors. And in fact, we were looking the other day, we just launched 3 new colors this year, and we have the most valve colors out of any valve maker. I mean, I think by 1.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it's tough. And we do, the kits come with like rim stickers, but not everybody wants to run a rim sticker. And
right.
And like even some of the teams that we supply product to, that their rim sponsor doesn't want a Cushcore sticker on their rim, and understandable. Right. So it is a tough thing, but like guys like you, it's kind of word of mouth. Once you ride it and love it, then people tend to spread the word for us. So that's helped a lot. And of course, we were. I think we launched almost the same week as Flat Tire Defender. So we weren't like, I can't say we were first with this sort of concept, but since that time, we've clearly made, like, I think we're the number 1 brand position. So we got the word out there for our segment of product, I think.
I think the proof to me that it works and that it's a solid product is the fact that you have multiple other companies making similar products now.
Yeah.
And in my mind, if that other company launched at the same time as you, I sure didn't hear of them back then. Like Cushcore was the only thing I heard people talking about. And now there's several other companies. Like if you go to Sea Otter, there's several other companies with inserts that they're trying to show off, and to me, that just shows you that the market is out there for the product, because they wouldn't be trying to make a business out of it too if they thought this was just such a niche market and not a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, and for us, I mean, this started literally with one guy's idea, and then he added me, and 2 guys made a company. Right?
Yeah.
So compared to some of these other companies that have, like, they're dabbling in inserts, they have other business streams, right?
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, we'll jump in there as well. So it's for me, it's like flattering that I have this mantra, is like we're continually trying to go from DIY to world class, and I think we're pretty world class right now. I know we're, when you look at pink bike surveys and vital surveys and this and that, we're clearly the number 1 insert of choice. And so that feels really good. And I think we're battling these,
other
giant
products,
corporations, and and I think we're fending them off. And really, I believe the reason is just because we have a superior product. Like, just the design of the product's better.
Is it something that like the material that you guys use is like trademarked or something like that? So they can't just copy it that way. They got to come up with their own thing.
I mean, they could copy it, but that is, that was part of the shape is one thing that's patented, and then the material itself is like it's a pretty common type of foam, but the properties that are designed in the foam, really, Adam spent a lot of time designing in the compression and rebound characteristics.
Got it.
And suspension. So somebody could copy that.
Potentially do that. Yeah.
But
it doesn't seem like that's been the case. So
yeah, but so far they haven't done it. I got.
If China's listening, we're screwed, right?
Yeah. Well, we here I had another sidebar I was going to tell you, but like this is funny. We had we got a product return, and we took it out of the box, and we're like, this thing looks kind of like Cushcore. It's the same color, but it's like twice as heavy. And then we looked, and it's like somebody on Alibaba is selling like rip-off.
Oh, wow.
Cushcores. And literally, so somebody bought it and like tried to return it to us. Probably.
Right.
Anyway, we just let that be. But like, yeah, then that's where we kind of dove in, and then we found this counterfeit Cushcore on Alibaba.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, they copied the design, but they definitely didn't get the product right at all.
No. It's literally like, it could be three. I can't remember. I'm sure we waited, but I can't remember. It was like at least twice as heavy. And then it's like, you could tell it's a counterfeit. Like just,
I can imagine just trying to install that thing if it's that much harder.
Yeah. Well, that's our guess, is like the guy bought it and like took it out of the box and was like, let me see if I can return this to Cushcore.
Right.
Well, he returned it through Amazon, I think. Anyway, another sidebar here. So, we had Vittoria came up to our booth, not this last Seattle ago. They had like 10, 12 guys come over, including the owner of the company, and they just wanted to chat about it, inserts and this and that. And they asked us a bunch of questions, including how much, what's our annual sales, and we're like,
yada yada yada. Right.
Well, I can tell you that. Why would we tell you that?
Right.
And then they asked me, do you have any questions for us? And I said, yeah. Why did you make it green? And their marketing guys pretended that he just realized that it was green right then.
Yeah.
But I think it's on purpose. Vittoria's corporate colors are not green.
Right.
And but the answer, and then they asked me, why did you make it gray? Why didn't you make it green? And here's the answer. When we could have made it any color we wanted to, but at the time, it's a highly engineered product. And we didn't want people, but it is a ring of foam, but we wanted it to have a technical feel, and that this is a serious, highly engineered product. It's not a pool noodle. And that's why we didn't make it green. And anyway, I don't know that like when they launched that and it was green, I'm just like, come on, guys, that's just,
I remember the pool noodle thing. You just like sparked it in my mind, because I remember people. That was the when you guys first launched. That was one of the things that people would compare it to. And I remember asking Adam about how he felt about it, and I could have seen his like head explode whenever. What's the difference between this and a pool noodle?
Our answer is like, put a pool noodle in your tire. You'll feel it.
Yeah, right.
Immediately. Go for it.
So you guys have some add-on things now too, like the tool that you guys came out with. Did that come out of installing these things at the events over and over again? What made you decide to do that?
Totally. That's exactly, that's pretty much exactly why we made that. So if the listeners out there, we at events, we typically do free installation, and we do that for one, like we just want to offer that service, but two, it's our opportunity to show you how you do it. For sure, you can make it hard on yourself, but if you do it the right way, it's pretty simple, pretty easy. But like when you do, 50 tires a day, and you're pushing down, part of the installation technique is dropping the bead, is what we call it. So you're taking the tire lever and pushing the tire bead into the center of the rim channel, and that you have to push hard, especially if you're removing a tire, even without Cushcore. And so you're pushing beads off 50 tires a day. The palm of your hand gets sore when you're using a Pedro's tire lever. So really, we just made, and that's why we called it bead dropper. We made a really comfortable tire tool, really sturdy, to drop that bead, either during installation or removing the tire.
And that lever, the lever that's on there looks almost like a Pedro's. Did you guys have to like pay something to them, like a licensing thing or something?
No. It's quite a bit wider than a Pedro's. And
okay. I've never actually measured it, but I mean, it looks a lot like the same shape,
Yeah. I mean, all tire levers are pretty similar, what I would call on the spoon end.
Right.
And it's like, if you look side by side, it's quite a bit different. I love Pedro's tire levers, by the way. They're real nice.
Definitely.
With them.
It's funny. Really, you guys have installed so many of them, and having this conversation with you is reminding me of things. And I remember whenever you guys first came out, like YouTube was full of these guys like trying to get their tire on for like 45 minutes. And it was just, that was the video that everybody was making, like I went into my bike shop and they won't even install it. And there's definitely a method to how you do it. And when I was up there, when you guys first launched, I remember somebody in there was like, oh, we can put a tire on in like 3 minutes or 2 minutes. It was 2 or 3 minutes. And I just remember being like, there's no way. Like I've seen so many of these videos, and sure enough, we got out the stopwatch, and one of your guys, man, just came out brand new tire too. Like took the Maxxis like right off the packaging it comes in, and like slammed it on. And I think he had like 10 seconds to spare too.
Yeah. Like, I mean, having said that, there's definitely certain tire and wheel combos that are tougher than others. But yeah, if you do it the right way, it's pretty simple.
I feel like I got it down. The only tires or tire wheel combination that I had a problem with was the NVs that have their own rim strip. It's not, you don't use tape. And just to get the tire over the rim, sometimes it would pop that rim strip in.
Yep.
And with the Cushcore in there too, it was cumbersome. It was definitely took a lot more patience than it would on pretty much any other rim tire that I've tried.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And like any rim that rim channel is shallow, it makes it more difficult. And then there's certain tires that fit tighter. I mean, like Contis are great tires, and but they're tight to the rim.
Super
but
tight.
That just means their engineering tolerances are good. I'd say great. So those are a little tougher. You just have to have a little bit more patience. It's the same technique. I mean, it's again, that dropping the bead is for install and uninstall. That's the key aspect. And I think sometimes people don't realize, like, they think they've dropped the bead, but it hasn't fallen down into that rim channel yet.
Yeah.
But again, like, that's why we like to do the demos or free installs at events, because we can show you how to do it the right way. But
I think once you get it down, it's pretty easy. But there's definitely a learning curve to, like, the first few times that you do it, where you're like, what the hell am I doing wrong? But I think the thing that you guys stressed to me whenever you were showing me initially how to do it was, like, just keep pushing the tire around. Like, you push it in, and you go all the way around the wheel, and then you push a little bit more of the wheel on the rim, and then go around again, and just keep doing it over and over again. And that honestly is what I practice still. And I think that having a garbage can also really helps. It's just like a perfect, like, So those of you guys that are listening, like if you had like a plastic garbage can that you would like keep out in your garage or like put a keg in for parties or something like that, that size is just like the way your rim sits on that size garbage can is just like the perfect mount for like having stability and being able to put those on.
Yeah, and if you don't have that, like at my house, I just use a Home Depot 5-gallon bucket, paint bucket. That
Yeah, I've
works
heard
too.
some guys say that too.
It's not as comfortable. I have a little like creeper stool that I sit on next to it, but yeah, like the garbage can's the right height so you can stand, and
right,
and it supports the wheel better. But yeah, that definitely is a pro tip. Makes it way easier. I don't know. I mean, shoot, we've had lots of people send us videos of like in person. I've seen dudes that can do it completely by hand, but
yeah, I don't have that kind of grip strength, man. I've heard people do that too, and I'm like,
yeah,
you're crazy.
I don't know. If you can do that, great, but yeah, a couple tire.
I can't even I could barely put a tire on without Cushcore on it with just grip strength.
Right. Yeah. I would say too, like just back to the bead dropper tool. You know, we offer a lifetime warranty on that. So if you break it, you send us a picture, and we send you a new one. But I think most of the time that people are breaking it is they think it's this stout tire lever that they can just put the whole last bit of bead on at once. And that's not the right way to do it. You're going to stretch out your tire bead, and then you're going to get a wobble in your wheel. So you got to be patient, little bites at a time. Keep dropping the bead, and that gives you slack on the tight side and install. Yeah.
I've told a lot of people, even if you don't use Cushcore, to buy that tool. Because it is just, it feels so much better in your hand.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it takes a tire lever, which you didn't really think you were having a problem with, and just makes it so much better.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, we like the marketing on the packaging says the ultimate tire lever, and I think it is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You guys also have another little handy tool, I think, as well. It's like it holds the tire.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, so we call it the bead bro. I don't know if the camera's not going to focus on it.
Can you say the name one more time?
It's called a bead bro. So we got bead dropper and bead bro, and the bead bro is like what we call it. It's like having a third hand. So even without Cushcore, let's say you have a carbon fiber wheel and it's a used tire, and it's got sealant all over it. So the carbon fiber is slippery as heck, and you're trying to get that last bit to snap on, and the bead keeps walking on you. Well, this little device just clips on the spoke and then clips in the bead and holds the bead in place so that you can use both hands and finish the job. So that's like we say, it's like having a third hand. It's super. You don't need it every time, but like when you have that situation where the bead keeps walking on you, some previous to this, you could use a zip tie, but like this is just so nice and Sano. It's really helpful when you have that scenario.
Yeah, I think before you guys came out with that, I would just use I'm like drawing a blank on the name, like a clamp you would use for like woodworking. Yeah, I have those DeWalt ones. They got the little plastic ends on them, so you don't have to worry about screwing up your rim. I just clamp it right on there.
Yeah, like a lumber clamp, like that.
Yeah,
or like a C clamp,
like a C clamp kind of thing, but like the ratcheting ones,
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just super handy.
So any specific engineering go into creating your valve stems?
Yeah, I mean the main thing that went into that is the Cushcore sits on top of the valve, so you could get tire pressure in, but when you're trying to set tire pressure, it could vacuum and close that hole. So our valves have holes that go laterally as well, and that just allows sealant and air to go to both sides of the insert. That's basicly it. That design is patented. Lateral hole. We're too small of a company to enforce patents, but but it is, it's a unique design, and that's the main reason. And then, you have 3 holes, so like less likely to get clogged and etc. But yeah, that's basically it. That's the only real unique aspect of our valves, other than now apparently we have the most colors out there.
Yeah. Do you think that clogging is an issue that you guys run into a lot with your valves?
No, not at all. I mean, we don't. Yeah, we don't hear of it at all. I mean, it's if you put sealant in through the valve, then there's a potential for clogging eventually. But yeah, we don't have an issue with that, and I think those extra holes actually help with that. Yeah.
You guys have anything?
I mean, there's other brands out there, other valve makers that have like solved the same issue that we've solved in different ways, and those are great.
Yeah.
They're insert compatible and they're Cushcore compatible, so great.
Is there any specific kind of stems that you shouldn't use that don't work with your stuff?
Well, I would just say this like a standard valve with only the one hole, because again,
so like just a little rubber stopper, and that's kind of like it.
Yeah, it'll work, but like the Cushcore sits on top of the valve, right? Mm-hmm. And so air can get in for sure, but when you set tire pressure, the Cushcore may block that hole like a vacuum, right? And so you can't adjust tire pressure.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, our sets and singles come with our valves, so you got a valve to start with, and then we have a bunch of colors if you want to buy a different one.
When you buy a set, can you select what color valve stem you get, or if you want a different color, you have to buy that separately? Not
yet. So right now they're pre-packaged with our green valves, but we're working on. I mean, this may be a little early to say this, but hopefully this all works out. But we're working on like what we call like a customizer or a wheel builder, so that you can choose the front wheel, rear wheel, and your valve color. And just to make it easy on our website, so that you can.
So then you could choose like also what insert you're using as well. So like maybe you wanted a trail up front and a pro in the back or something like that.
Exactly.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So just a customizer, and we're working on it. Hopefully before the end of this year, we'll have something like that. But yeah, we know, because I mean, again, now we have all these options. It's we want to allow riders to choose what they want, and everybody's preferences are different. So rider's choice. Yeah.
Do you package them in like a mullet box, or is there like you just buy them?
Yeah, we have mullets for Trail, Pro, and EMTB.
So you have a different insert for EMTB?
Yeah, so last year, August, we launched a EMTB specific model. It's a little bit, basically it's our biggest model. It's bigger than the Pro. And we designed it with the additional weight and forces that a e-bike provides, that it's designed to do that. So it's just slightly larger than the Pro.
Okay.
And it has another unique feature, like the Trail. We have I could probably show you, but it has these flutes, we call them, on the sidewall, and that's intended to make that initial where the Cushcore ends and the tire meets, right? It's designed to make that a little bit softer there, so then when you're rolling from pure tire to like onto the Cushcore, you don't notice that transition like the Pro. You kind of notice immediately. This is just a little more subtle. It gives that softer transition, more, we call it progressive sidewall support. So you kind of lean into it, you don't notice it, then you get the Cushcore where the Pro is sort of like you notice it immediately. I'm sort of exaggerating, but that was the thought on those flutes. And so the EMTB has that, and the trail has that feature. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, so but yeah, I mean, that's been also been a huge success. I think partially is, is people were landing on our website and be like, I have an e-bike, which one do I get? It's like, well,
Uh-huh.
this one's designed for e-bikes, so get this one. It makes it pretty straightforward, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it was specifically engineered for the weight and forces of e-bikes,
So
e-mountain
you guys
bikes.
originally started out, you were partially the moto kind of shop for the other
Yeah,
things. And then you also had Cushcore. At this point, though, I think it's just Cushcore now, right?
yeah. So, gosh, it's sort of sad because I was working for both companies, and we built Creft Moto was the other company. We built that brand from, like I said, I had never heard of it, and then we built it, and we're getting featured in magazines and test reviews, and like we really built it into a strong brand in the U.S. But in the end, it took so much R&D every year that Adam really decided he wanted to focus on Cushcore
Uh-huh.
and take all that effort that he was having. It was basically taking his focus off of Cushcore and having to put that in. And
Yeah.
he has a bunch of ideas of stuff for Cushcore in the future that he wasn't able to get to because he was having to do R&D for Craft Moto. And it's just, suspension tuning in the dirt bike world is just such a smaller market.
Mm-hmm.
And so in December of last year, um, he decided to close that company. And I mean, I really feel for the guy because that was his baby, right?
Yeah.
And then it was kind of my baby too, but like really, he's the father and I'm the uncle, let's
Yeah.
say. And uh, and then the other sad part about it is like we were in one facility here, and I think we had like 20 people between two companies, and Adam, myself, Austin, who's also an engineer, and then Nick, who's our creative director. The four of us worked on both companies, but everybody else was segmented to one company. However,
Mm-hmm.
having said that, we all hung out, we all rode mountain bikes
Yeah.
and motos together, and like we were a family. And it was really sad to see that go. But I completely understand why Adam did it, and
Yeah.
yeah. It's just one of those things, and yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. It's only been a year, so I don't want to say it was the right
Yeah.
decision, but like I think for Adam, it was definitely the right
Yeah.
decision
Yeah.
because he's already more, full on into developing new products for Cushcore.
That's exciting. So do you guys have something that you think you're bringing to market soon, or you a couple years out, or?
Well, I can't say. Well, like there's let's say, yeah, I can't really say. It's
Got it.
there's
No
a
worries.
couple things that could be close to launching that won't be revolutionary, let's say, but like a
Yeah.
revolutionary product's probably a little ways out.
Little bit out though.
Yeah,
It sounds fun, man. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
and you guys are still going out to a lot of events out and about.
Yeah. I think we did 8 events this year total, so that's pretty good for us. Oh man, we went to Bentonville Bike Fest this year. I didn't go, but the team went.
Yeah.
And then from that, we decided to drive out because then they could go from there to the Unbound Gravel event, which was the next weekend and close by. But it got hit by a tornado in Bentonville and like destroyed our whole kit. And like, oh man, just crazy.
Yeah, it didn't
But
make Unbound work out very well. I was in Bentonville for that as well. I stopped by and saw that you weren't there, and
yeah,
that's a bummer. You guys got hit pretty hard though.
yeah. I mean, but compared to others, I mean, I guess there's a lot of people like their vehicles got destroyed, and really it was just our one tent, and
Yeah.
luckily we had a secondary tent that we could still do that gravel event the next weekend, and nobody got hurt. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty scary, really. You were there,
Yeah.
more than I do. But yeah, anyway, it's like one of those things. It's just, that's for a small company like us to drive from Oregon to Arkansas is a big ask. I froze up. I don't know. Can you hear me, Rob?
Yeah, I can hear you still. It seems like Cushcore. It seems like StreamYard's just having some issues today.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can just keep talking, and the video is what it is.
It'll probably buffer back up. But yeah, anyway, it's a big push for us to go there, and it's unfortunate that that didn't work out. And yeah.
Yeah, looks like it dropped off there. Can I still hear you?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. So I know we had a conversation before we got started that there was a limited amount of time on your camera battery. So I'm just going to go ahead and we'll take this as a sign that the battery's probably dead.
Yeah.
Anyways, anybody that has hung out with us for the entire podcast here, please swing by Cushcore's website. The URL is in the show notes. And I'll tell you right now, out of all the experiences that I've had with Cushcore, they've all been positive. So I really enjoy the product. I can't speak highly enough about it. So definitely swing by their website and check it out. I appreciate all you guys for coming and hanging out with me. And remember one thing, it only takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one.